Hey y'all, welcome back to our final episode of Opposites in a Nutshell. I'm Shay, and as I mentioned last week, this is actually going to be our final episode. I think I already gave the reasons why, but basically things are just getting really hectic and it's kind of hard to keep up. So, as much as this has been fun, and this was an awesome experience for Jasmine and I to be able to do together because in all, I guess, 15 years, how long have we known each other? Whatever it is, and however many years we've known each other, this is the first time that we've actually worked together. So that was cool and was a fun opportunity. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with that. But a little housekeeping. Just trying to think of all the different things that I guess we're supposed to wrap up on. The only thing that I think is outstanding, and honestly, someone had to call me out on it. Not call me out, like remind me of it this past week. But I never came back with my update about the whole Shay situation. So quick update, not going to go too much into it, but basically Sai and I decided to take a break from our friendship after the episode. Actually, it was before the episode even dropped. So quick timeline. We filmed the episode about 6 weeks before it actually dropped. So by the time you guys were seeing it, a lot had already transpired. There's no bad blood, no animosity or anything like that. We just decided to take a step back from our friendship. It was the most healthy thing for both of us and for the sake of any future significant others. Well, yes. Anyways, so that's the update. But now back for why y'all are here, because I know we left you on a really good cliffhanger last week. Here is part 2 of the Besties episode. We're continuing with Chris and Steve. And what better way to end the show than with having some pretty cool guests that we've had fun with so far. So stick around, and here is the Besties episode part 2.
So one of the things that we were going to talk about when we started talking about it was how things are like going around, coming around in terms of fashion. Okay. Right? We were talking about like 90s and like some of that stuff is coming back. So I want to on that same level, but a little bit deeper.
Okay.
From y'all's perspective, what do you feel like is either going around, coming around, or it's here and it needs to leave? That's like what's happening. I have something in my mind, but is there anything that you can think of that like it's here and man, that needs to go away or it needs to come back? I mean, I have something, but
start with yours. Unless
okay. I'm gonna say. So I just heard. I think you talked about this on your podcast, but I just heard someone say something about red pill. Do y'all know what that is?
No.
Red pill content?
Okay. So I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but apparently what it sounded like to me was that men are going to stop doing the holding the doors open for women. Like, oh, we don't have to hold doors open.
It can go away.
It can go away.
No. I'm saying it can
for your meal. Just like some of the chivalry things. Now it's more like men's empowerment. We're not going to do all those things. That's from my understanding of how someone was telling me. It was like a tidbits of, what's his name? Samuel?
Oh, Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels and someone else. Like these little tidbits of like men's empowerment. And like, so if y'all have heard it, that would be a hot topic. Like, what are your thoughts? It's a hot topic because I feel like it's right now. Have you heard it?
No, but did you notice how you hadn't even finished and I was like, it's gotta go?
Sorry.
I'm not here for it.
Oh, they're about to get into it.
Oh yeah, whatever. That's on you. Yeah, all right. So red pill content. First and foremost, I do check into it, tap into it a little bit, understanding what they mean. I do think in a way chivalry is dead, but I think it's a cluster of different things. I don't think it's just one particular area. I think in a way that men have become weakened, but I think there's a push for that agenda-wise to make man weak. I think a lot of men are not as masculine as they were once before. If you were to look at like your fathers, they're man's man. You know what I mean? I know your father. A man's man. You know what I mean? I have not met your father, but
man's man.
Yeah, from what you shared. I know your father. A man's a man.
Yeah.
But when we're hanging out with some other dudes, some people we come across is just not that same type of, environment or vibe. I would say though is that some things have changed from what our parents are dealing with versus what we are now.
Mm-hmm.
One is seems more optional than it was back then. People want to get married a little bit later. Obviously, the position of a woman has changed, where she's at, how successful she has been. I have no problem with that. I believe in growth for men and women. On the contrary, though, I think that what we are coming across is a division between men and women. Why are we doing that? I think a lot of it stems from men are becoming weak, feminism becoming a thing that is being pushed through. What does that really look like, and how's that impacting relationships for people as a whole? And I think a lot of times, you'll come across a woman and, we're dating. And there's sometimes you feel, well, where am I needed if the case is, I got my bag, I don't need no man, I don't need you, I don't want you, I don't need you, but I want you. So if everything is, I make my own money, it's not really that I need you, then what's the space for us to be there? If that's going to be your whole push towards us, because at the end of the day, I think a man wants to feel wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a man feel like a man. It's it's funny because I heard somebody say this. It's like it's the little things that make a man feel happy from his woman. It's just like the little things of like, hey, what would you do in this situation? I want to hear your feedback here. Hey, can you help me with something? For a man, it makes you feel like, hey, I have something that I can do to help you because I want to help you naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we are. So that's my takeaway. I think there's just been a shift, and I think a lot of people, even with the whole feminist idea of just like, we want to be seen as equal, and I agree to that 100%. However, I think some women with the feminist thing want to pick and choose when they want to be equal, which is a different conversation. But, hey, I want to be equal in this space. Okay, but you can't be equal here, but not be equal here. It's got to be across the board. And I think that creates difficulty and division between men and women. I think that's what we're coming across for people. That's just my take. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but that's just my take.
So before we move on, give me an example of you're saying men have been weakened. Like, what do you mean by that?
I think that the way that men dress, I think the way that, what else do you see on social media that they're pushing? The makeup, the nails, like they'll put color on them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Stuff like that.
Gotcha.
It doesn't come off as masculine. Now, some people are like, hey, you choose what you want or how you want to be. Yes, there's a place for more choice out there, but I don't know if women are truly, and that's you guys' standpoint, like, are you truly attracted to a man being like that or dressing metrosexual?
No.
Is that just like, nah.
No, like, going back to the whole thing of, like, the way men were once upon a time, like, I feel like, yes, I have grown up in this generation, but at the same time, I'm not trying to, based on the examples you've given, I'm not trying to be with a weakened man. You know what I mean? Like, still looking for the same thing of, like, this idea of, like, okay, this is, somebody that, we don't have enough time to even talk about submission, but anyways, but anyways, it's just that idea of, like, when it comes to marriage, because if that's the route that we're going, I'm not going to want to be with somebody. I can do all that myself. I don't need you doing the makeup and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, okay. I feel like we're probably closer to the same side than not. Looking for a manly man. Like, you think of someone, like, if I'm in trouble, like, you got it.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask y'all this. So since you're looking for a manly man, we're in 2022 now.
Mm-hmm.
How much does money take into the man you're looking for, right? So let's say you have a manly man, right? Mm-hmm. He may be a janitor. He's the manliest man manliest man. But you make more money than he does. How does that affect the dynamics of the relationship in y'all's opinion?
We need to start asking what are their dating requirements.
We're going to get them. I'm setting them up. This is the setup to get there.
I'm an anomaly, so my answer is going to be probably different than maybe some of our other listeners. But money doesn't matter. The management of the money matters. You can be a janitor and make a low wage of, I don't know, $10 an hour. But if you know how to manage that money, you're not taking it off to drink and gamble it away, but you store it up for your children's children. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Cool. It's fine with me. It's steady. It's consistent. That's fine. But I'm an anomaly. I feel like some people want someone in their life that makes more money than them so they can sit back and relax and be a stay-at-home mom. Okay. But I don't know. For me, that it doesn't matter. I just think that it's you can work around those things, right? In my opinion, you can not work around it, but it may fit. Like, hey, I really love being the facilities manager. I manage people. Yes, you do, babe. You sure do. You did such a good job. Come sit down and rub your feet, right? Cool. I don't care how much money you make. If you feel amazing by what you do, fine.
I got a question.
Uh-oh. Yes.
Why do you think money is the number one cause of divorce? You think it's the mismanagement? Because you said something I thought was very, very truthful.
Yeah.
Mismanagement.
Yeah. You're taking this money and I don't know what you're doing with it. You're spending it on frivolous things, and it could be for so-and-so's tutoring classes and stuff like that. That part's not cool.
That's a good management of money. That's smart.
Right.
Tell us more.
Yeah. Right there. We promote that.
Right. Planting seeds.
Yeah, right? So, that's true. I hear you. How many women, though, because what you're sharing is an anomaly. Because I don't really hear that from a woman say this. So I really like what you're saying. How many women would you say, though, nowadays are, because of social media, are looking for a lifestyle?
I think that what is promoted on social media and what celebrities are doing is not our real lives. It's obvious. And unfortunately, because that is what's in our face, we're going to act on it. Only for so long, right? Some of my...
You know how many sugar daddies be out there?
Oh, yeah. They be all in my box. But, and it's tempting.
Okay.
And it be tempting. But I think I want to say it's just because it's out there and we see it can happen. A lot of us are like, well, that's what I want. If he can't do this, then he can't take me out. Okay, well, you stay at home. I'm still going to Chili's with John, okay? Because I'd rather eat something than nothing. Because you know what I mean? But I just, what I teach my daughters, I feel like is how I am. And I want them to have this level of respect for everyone because that's how I am. But I don't think that all women, I mean, I don't even want to speak in generalizations, but I do see it that a lot of my cohort of women, our mindset has been because of what we see on Lifetime, what we see that Cardi B has, stuff like that. And I mean, that's media. That's, we're all affected by what is bombarded in our faces and in our ears. We're all affected. It's what we do with that. But unfortunately, I want to say, yes, I am an anomaly when it comes to how I view money, marriage. Yeah.
Of that.
Yeah.
What about you? Since we're y'all now.
I don't feel like I'm too far off from that. I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of, like how you're managing the money. But obviously, at the same time, I'm hoping that is not the case, if we're being real. But at the same time, I don't think, like, if it's a situation where I make more money than he does, I don't think that's like, oh, this can't work. Because, I mean, when it comes to how much money people make, I think because of my experiences, like, post, high school, post-college, and, like, different jobs and stuff, I've just come to the conclusion that sometimes you could be amazing at something, but it's not your fault that nobody recognizes your value. You know what I mean? And so, anyway, so I wouldn't hold that against them. But, yeah, like I said, like, it wouldn't be a problem. But I would hope that
Did you see at the end? She said it wouldn't be a problem. There was a little slip in there's a little slur to tone right there. On the lie detector. I did a little lie detector work back in the day.
That's funny. No, honestly speaking, what I'm saying is, like, literally, if it's a situation where he doesn't make as much, like, I wish it was more. But it's also not going to be a thing of where I'm just like, oh, you got to figure this out because this isn't going to work. Like, I don't feel like that should be a deal breaker, because at the end of the day, like, in, your life, your marriage or whatever, you're not married to the money, like, it's about the relationship. So if the relationship is not going well, that's unfortunate, but I would hope it's not because of money. And going back to your earlier question, I feel like, and I could be very wrong because I've never been married and I don't know all that, but I feel like one of the reasons that money is like a big cause for divorce is because a lot of it comes back to communication. So it's like, there's things where, kind of like you were saying, if you make a lavish like purchase, you never consulted me about it. Okay, now it's a huge issue because, yes, I understand that's your money, but I feel like now that we are one, these are things we should have conversations about. So like, even though, yes, it was a money thing, I feel like if you dig deeper, it comes back to like communication.
I agree.
So, anyways, but all that to say, yeah, what were you going to say?
So would you date somebody that's 37 that's a janitor?
Now, let's...
Yep.
Why y'all hating
Here
on
we go.
janitors?
We're working y'all into what we want to get y'all.
Okay.
So,
Just tell them what they want to hear, Shay.
Okay, no. Look, okay, so here, the question. I would have questions, okay? So before making any decisions, I do have questions. I want to know, is this like... Are you doing this because this is just kind of, this is where I'm at in life, I have other plans? Or is this kind of like what you were saying, where, no, I genuinely love what I do? If you love what you do, that's fine, because we'll still have a good lifestyle once Shay K Events is like on and popping. So I'm not too concerned about that.
What is
but
it?
It just depends on like I said, I would have to ask questions. Like I want to get a full understanding of like, what is this situation?
What in your experience what have you experienced that contributes to like a question like that? Is it that you feel like you've been out here in the dating world and you don't make enough money for the woman that you're dating and they've said something about it? They've looked at you a different way? Or is it a competition between guys? Like what's the setting?
I think it's, what is it? Hypergamy? Is that the kind of thing? Well, because I think in 2022, the market is different, right? It's not what it was 5 years ago, 7 years ago. We got dating apps. So now, pull up the phone. I'm swiping this way. I'm swiping that way. You can do it on multiple different whatever. But, it's just, you notice the things, it's just something you notice out here, and it's always funny. I think it's funny to ask, I would say y'all are unicorns, but ask women, so what do you look for, man? What do you look for? And then they'll say one thing, but usually it leads to, well, this
right.
as well, and you start, and then it ends up being the dream house, home, crazy wedding.
Height requirement.
Has to have a pool with a jacuzzi in it. We're like, first off, you just said you would date the janitor, but now you the 3-story house with the pool and the jacuzzi is a requirement. So,
yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
But that's why we ask certain questions to see if we can
Okay.
work y'all to that point. So where you're saying, well, he has to. So now your requirements is we already got you. He has to make money, has some ambition, but he can't be 37-year-old janitor.
No, because initially when we started this conversation, when you asked the question, I said, and I'll double down on it, but I said I would be okay with that. Wait, what did I say? Can we roll it back? No, I'm just kidding. But basically, like, I would be okay with that. That's not like a deciding factor per se, but it kind of goes back to the same thing of like asking questions, because if you're like, look, this is the only job I can get for whatever reason. Okay, let's talk about it. Is this what you're wanting to do? Because I'm very big on, just because this is how I live my life, I want to make sure that I'm living my life to the best that I can. And what I mean by that is whatever I'm doing, even if it's not a very high paying job, like if it's something that I love, great, because I feel like I'm going to have a better quality of life because I enjoy what I do than doing something that I hate and making all the money. Because this was something we recently had a conversation about of like, I don't know if y'all have y'all ever heard of Broke Bobby?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so there was this like chart that was like flying around, I think it was like in 2020, of like Forbes, whatever. It was a bunch of guys that just make a lot of money, and they were all, basically this is the chart they use when planning their vacations. So they're all friends, some make in the millions, some make, 100K, some make 45K, and like, it's just like, wide range of like, pay or whatever that they make. And then there was a column which was like how much PTO they have. And then a column for like, if we're going to do a vacation, what's your max? So it's like a group of friends that make a wide range of, salaries, but they're all friends. And so there's Broke Bobby on there. I don't remember how much Broke Bobby made, but he made like some pretty good money. That's why I was like, that's broke. But one of the things we were talking about with that list, I was like, I feel like you could end up with the guy on the top of the list that makes all the money. But then, like, what if he's a workaholic? I don't want to be in that relationship because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be married to your money. Like, I want to, it's, for me, it's the relationship part is more important, which is why, going back to the 37K, we're going to have a conversation about it to get a fuller, like, a better idea of, like, is this what you're wanting to do with your life? If it is, and that makes you happy, that's fine. Let's keep it pushing. But the bottom line for me is that it all boils down to, like, the relationship aspect of it.
That's very true. I see. I think it's like the balance. So, like, example of what you shared is like you don't want the guy that's making a lot of money but doesn't have time to actually build a relationship because he's on the road and he's worried about getting the next dollar. 100% agree to that. I think on the contrary, though, in the example that we're using is the janitor. My question, though, typically, and what doesn't work out for guys, he's a janitor. Does he still deserve respect? Absolutely.
Yeah.
The question, though, is a lot of girls end up with a guy sometimes that is not ambitious. I'm not saying
that's where the questions come in.
Exactly, because I'm not saying a person that's a janitor is not ambitious if I try to understand. But my question then becomes as a guy is, okay, I know as a man from 18, you've been able to go out there and try to get it on your own. If you're 37, that's 19 years. And you're telling me this is the only level you've gotten to. Unless you're showing me that you're trying to move to the next level. Ambitious guys, they just don't stop there. They just keep moving and they're going to the next thing where they can get forward in life. So for me, sometimes I think girls will be with a guy and they don't ask them questions and they'll be with this guy that could be a dope boy. You know what I'm saying? Or, whatever the case may be, and they're not really pushing for more in life. And that's where the problems start showing themselves.
Yeah.
And it's that balance. Okay, where are you trying to go in life? And I think that's when I say sometimes weak man is like, this dude ain't trying to do nothing in his life. Yeah. I got sisters, I'll talk to them. Like my youngest sister, be careful, be mindful of these type of guys. I have friends that are girls, I'm telling you, this type of guy, what you telling me, I don't want to go nowhere in life. Mm-hmm. This guy is going to hold you back. Because if you're a person, as a woman, that's ambitious, the last thing you want is somebody that's not on the same wavelength as you. That is only going to destroy what you're trying to build. And I think for us, another question for you is 3 things I got for you. I'm going to give you 3 things, and one of those things you have to say you're willing to live without.
Okay.
One is income.
I already hate this question. Go ahead.
One is income, health, or not health. Income, mental, and looks. Those 3 things. And we're talking about a guy that you would date. What is the one thing that you would give up? His mental, obviously. Is he mentally stable? His income, how much he makes, and obviously his looks. How does he look?
Funny enough, I just saw a survey on this a couple of days ago.
And
it said almost all women said looks.
Yeah.
And I mean, I agree. And then almost all men said wealth. Was that one of the things?
Income, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Which is funny. Which, I mean, when I read it, I agree. I was like, I see it completely. Because, yes, I'd rather forego the looks.
Men want to live without the wealth?
As in...
Or their partner.
Yeah, their partner having that. Yeah.
Yes. Men and women.
And I agree wholeheartedly with that. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
We date for different reasons.
Right, exactly.
That's funny. We were just talking about that last time. Yeah.
How funny. That's why when you started, I was like... I know where this is going.
I got some pushback though. Like we've interviewed last year, me and my other best friend. We interviewed people and we're asking people like, "Hey, what do you think?" And there would be some women that would be like, "No, I can't, give up, or I'll give up income." That's what they would say. Some girls would say that.
I've heard that before, and I feel like with the current dating market, you see that a lot because I feel like there's a lot of vain people right now. Like where like the looks are so important. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be with, anyways, all that to say, like, yes, it's important, but it's not the
end all.
Right. Exactly. And one of the things, and I think you and I have talked about this because people are always like, no, because like, I know I look cute and he has to look cute. That way we can have cute babies. No, I've seen some two cute, like a couple. Both of them are very attractive looking people. And their babies, I'm like, what happened?
Oh, no.
Listen, those are the babies that they say, "Oh, look at my baby," and you're like, "Oh,
They
congratulations!"
show you the picture, and you're kind of like, "Oh, okay."
And now you just don't talk about it. Just, "Oh, congratulations! Oh, that's so exciting!" I'm not gonna lie to you.
But, most babies when they first come out, they don't.
They look like aliens.
They don't look all that cute when they.
They
first
literally look like human aliens. Like after a couple of days, they start to look
but
human.
even they didn't look all that cute. They're cute.
At least you're honest. I feel like some parents
But I love
struggle
my
with
kids.
that.
They were cute. It took a day.
Yeah.
Fine.
For them to get
Everybody else got on
past the alien stage.
Yeah, pretty much.
They all look the same, like creepy little. Anyways.
Okay, so
Wait, before that,
Uh-oh.
I wanted to ask. So, with that same question, is it different for you guys than wealth or income?
I mean, if we're talking about what we're looking for from a woman, I would give up wealth because I expect as a man, I'm going to handle that on my end to make sure we're going to be straight. Not that you can't make your money,
right?
But I got to be straight or y'all can't be straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's why it would be wealth. You know, I want somebody who my mental first, mental peace is everything.
Right.
You don't have peace, you don't got nothing in life. So that's number one. And then looks, I know it might sound, but I want to be attracted. I want to be attracted to them.
Individual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Chris?
No, I agree 100%. I think that income is just not the first thing. I know it's not the first thing I look at most dudes. And what I would say is just being around different people all the time is like, when I hear a dude that says like, she got to make a lot, I've been around a girl that she makes a lot of money and I want to be with that. Usually it's the guys that are not ambitious. Mm-hmm. They're not ambitious or they like to leech onto a woman. Mm-hmm. So they follow the woman. I'm like, see, nah, I can't be like, I don't know. I just be like, yeah, I kind of already see where you going with this. I see how you move and what you're about. Usually guys that are like, protect and provide, that's how they've been raised to be a man. They're not looking for that in a woman. They are looking on, okay, how can we both work? Because I think roles are important. Again, I don't take away from a woman being able to provide the money. If she was a lawyer, that's a plus. I don't know about a lawyer because they like to argue. So. What if she had a well-to-do?
Yeah.
Tasha's cool though. Tasha man cool. She's an anomaly. You're in Tasha. Don't come at me. Don't
right. Go
call you.
So yeah, I mean, I think we just look for different things when we're dating. Like the mindset. One non-negotiables, that's a whole different discussion. Yeah. What are the non-negotiables? And I think I have a certain non-negotiables. So maybe that's why I've been single
for so long. What are your non-negotiables?
Wait, no. Before we get there, I had a follow-up question.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I feel like I did too.
I did. Oh, I was going to say, so with that being said, would you date someone that makes more money than you?
Now, I'm just going to say, that's not a problem at all. It's just when a woman leads with her money, right? When she tries to, because I just don't want you. If you got the bag, let's put it together. Nobody got to know, But if you're leading with your money, kind of trying to say, oh, that's why you should be with me. That's different than us vibing and figure something out. Right. Oh, you should be with me because I have everything together. I'm this. Then that's a little bit like, well. If you are all this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't need me.
What do you need me for?
Yeah.
I got to bring something to balance things out.
Ladies, why are we doing this? Why? Why lead with that? That's just, I'm thinking it's something that you said about guys leeching on. I'm going to tap into some of my social work studies. I think when I hear you say like weak in the latching, I almost want to equate that to someone who grew up with a single mom. She always took care of you. Or maybe their dad was absent and they didn't have that picture of what it looks like to work hard, to grind. I mean, I'm trying not to blame anyone for anything, but that's where I see that it goes back to. Is who raised you and how did they raise you? What did you see? Did the TV raise you? Did the TV raise you to always be all about looks and she's got to be 30, 60? You know what I mean? Like compared to, okay, well, you really want to know, is she a believer? How is her respect level? How's her communication? That kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking is, and I don't know your friends or your cohort, but when you said that, I was like, I wonder if these are just people who, this is what happened. They did not have a man in their life teach them how to be a man. And have those manly characteristics, and that's where we are.
You nailed it. Go ahead, take it in.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say on the contrary of what you said. I think it definitely works on both sides because that is a fact. What you're saying of like when you look at men and they're emotional, very like when a man doesn't think logical, and I've been around him like. I think about one person, I'm like, man, I can't stand him. But that's,
don't say his name.
I almost say that. Look, man, like
I don't like
it. Yeah. But he was very like I've just come across other people and I've identified these men that are very emotional is because usually when you look at it, sometimes it was like they didn't have a father figure. So they're very emotional because they were raised by their mother. Well, women are typically more emotional. On the contrary, when you look at a woman that doesn't have a father figure, you see daddy issues. So when you see that when you're dating a woman, that is when I have a conversation with a woman, I ask those questions. What is your relationship like with your father? Now, if your father wasn't present, he was gone. Hey, there's some things you can't control. I get it. But if you say I don't like my father, I can't stand. I need to understand why. I'm not trying to pry, but if it gives me clarity, just like you said, you're gonna vet the guy, the janitor. I need to vet to understand why don't you like your father? Is it because XYZ, is it because of this? And then from there, I can make a decision ultimately and say, okay, how do you feel about men and working in this climate? Because when a woman is raised by a father figure that's masculine, they tend to work a lot better. It seems to flow a lot better the way they work together. So. Yeah.
And I'm imagining that it makes it even a little bit more difficult. So, like, what I'm thinking is when you said that a woman who has had a man in her life, like her mom and her dad, she saw her mom was an attorney and her dad was a brain surgeon. She has seen hard work. She's seen her mom work and come home and still they have a great relationship. So she's out in the dating pool and she's like, well, listen, if you don't appreciate that I work, like I'm a teacher and you just want me to sit down and shut up, like she's not going to fall for that. So if that's what you're looking for in the woman, that's not going to happen because that's not how she was raised. And she was also raised by this dad who was a brain surgeon who taught her, oh, well, he's, that guy, he's going to provide for you just like I provide for your mom and all you kids. So that's why she comes to the dating table. She's like, well, are you paying for the meal? Because her dad always paid for the meal. Not that she's like, okay, you need to do this and that, but that's what she was raised in. He needs to open up the door for you, Jasmine. If he's not opening up the door for you, he's not the one. He's not respecting you. The bar is high for someone who has these examples of good, I shouldn't say good, but just there's a higher expectation.
You can be wooed more easily, I feel like, with no father figure, like no daddy. So like when a father is like, you're used to somebody, changing your world. You're used to somebody, because that's your first love. Your father is going to be the woman's first love, your daughter. So when that is not around and that's not present, a man can come in and say, I'm taking you, like you said, to Chili's. For them, they've never really seen that or going on a nicer date. So they're wooed by that. Sometimes, I don't know, you guys been with other women, those conversations maybe, they'll be like, oh, he took me here. And it's like, I'm telling you, that is not enough. That's the bare minimum he's doing for you. But because you've never seen anything better, I don't blame you. But at the same time, a woman that has seen an actual man, a father, you can't woo him as he like. You got to come with something better.
Yeah. Agreed. But before we move on, Chris, you never answered the question.
What was that question?
Would you date someone who makes more than you?
Would I date somebody? In my last relationship at one point in my early 20s, the person was making more money than me at that time. That happened for roughly about a year and a half. And that wasn't an issue per se. I think it's also about how a person handles when they start making more money, right? It's that ego that comes into it. Like if you listen to music like Cardi B or anything like that, 6 figures I don't need, whatever she says, I don't know her lyrics like that. I don't need no dude, I don't cook, I don't clean. She's pushing this narrative, and
which also isn't true. Her husband called her out. He posted a video of her cooking and sweeping. And he was like, y'all out here singing her lyrics. Look at her.
What?
Yeah, that's serious. Oh, yeah. I laughed so hard.
I love that. That's funny.
Exactly. So, and a lot of, I've seen pushback from, why do I have to cook? Why do I have to clean? I'm like, I'm not saying that you do. That's not the narrative I'm trying to push. But I think a woman that does make money it doesn't hurt. But it definitely is about, how can she act now that she's making more money? How does she present herself? Am I leading with my money, like he said? Because if you're leading with your money, then it's just kind of like a turn on.
Right.
You don't like you said, you don't like a weaker man. So if I came in with a softer tone voice and I dressed very like metro or something that you didn't really like, you'd be turned off. Same thing is true for a man when he sees a woman that's very masculine. It's a turn off.
So again, we just want to thank our guests, Chris and Steve, for coming on the podcast. This was a really good talk. We definitely want to have you back. Chris, you're back, but we want to have you back, Steve. You dropped a lot of nuggets, a lot of wisdom, and just your charisma is nice. Like, I feel like we were laughing and joking about how y'all are similar, we're similar, but yeah, to step into a room with people that you don't know and to just be just as chill and honest and vulnerable and open, I love it. So we appreciate y'all coming on.
Before we go, if the people want to find you guys, where can they find you? We'll start with you, Steve.
Man, you can just find me wherever, Facebook, whatever. Just Google my first and last name. Just put it in. I don't have nothing. I'm not pushing anything right now like that on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, nothing special. So nothing special. You can see.
Phone number, email. Because they want to know.
I can't put all that info. I ain't doing all that.
281-334.
Wait, are y'all single?
Mike Jones.
Yes.
Ladies, they are single. So, anyways, where can they find you?
Social media. High Talk Podcast as well. So they can reach me through social media. Facebook as well.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in for another episode. We will catch you around for the next one. Bye.